Hey cat lovers, and welcome back to the Purring Journal, the channel where we discuss all things feline. It's a common misconception that cats' temperaments and behaviors are immutable and that they can't be trained. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. Cats can be trained, though it is important to approach unwanted behavior correctly. In this video, we're revealing 5 common mistakes to avoid when disciplining your cat, and some acceptable alternatives. If you enjoyed learning about cat behavior, tips, facts, and more, subscribe to the channel so you never miss an upload. Now let's dive into it. Should cats be disciplined? When approaching the subject of cat discipline, it's important to first note that by discipline, we mean correcting unwanted behavior, not punishment. The reality is that cats don't understand the concept of punishment, making it ineffective. Also note that our conception of good and bad behavior does not apply to cats. In fact, many of the behaviors that we deem unacceptable are natural cat behaviors. Scratching and jumping, for example, are normal and healthy behaviors for a cat. But when your cat is scratching the furniture and jumping on the counter, it causes issues. So often, the real problem is not the behavior itself, but it's where it is being performed. With this in mind, you should not attempt to discourage your cat from jumping or scratching, but instead provide them with appropriate outlets to do so. However, there are times when it's necessary to correct your cat's behavior. While you should not discourage your cat from performing natural behaviors, other behaviors like aggressive play, for instance, need to be dealt with. When it is necessary to correct your cat's behavior, it is important to approach it in a way that your cat will understand. As mentioned, cats don't understand good and bad behaviors. Your cat does not know that scratching at your couch is a bad thing. To them, your couch is just another scratching post. So your cat will not understand it if you punish them for that behavior. Instead, it's best to focus on prevention and redirection. Next, we'll discuss a few techniques to avoid when trying to change your cat's behavior, as well as some new positive alternatives that are both effective and do not harm your cat. Number 1. Don't treat your cat like a dog. A common mistake that cat guardians make when training a cat is treating them like a dog. Many people assume that the same techniques that can be used to train dogs can also be used on cats. However, most cats can't be trained the same way that dogs can be. This has nothing to do with intelligence or ability, but it seems to come down to willingness. Most cats, unlike most dogs, just don't care for human validation. This isn't to say that cats can't be trained, but that just most cats won't learn how to do tricks with the same enthusiasm as dogs. Most training for cats has to do with redirecting existing behaviors rather than introducing new behaviors. When training a cat, it's important to work with their natural instincts rather than against them. Cats will be very reluctant to perform behaviors that do not come naturally to them, like coming when they are called or rolling over. Dogs are typically trained on a command basis, meaning we teach them commands associated with behaviors and train them to perform the behavior at the command. Cats, on the other hand, don't typically respond to commands. Depending on their disposition, some cats can be taught to sit, come, and stay. However, most cat training is focused on channeling cat behavior into acceptable outlets, like training your cat to jump onto a cat tree rather than your counter. Although cats and dogs aren't usually trained in the same way, the basis for the training is the same. In neither case is it ever acceptable to use punishment as a means of training. Positive reinforcement rather is the foundation for both. It is important to not treat your cat like a dog in the sense that your training likely won't have the same goals, and you will need to work with your cat's instincts to see results, which may require different techniques than if you were working with a dog. Number 2. Don't physically punish your cat. One of the most harmful mistakes you can make when disciplining your cat is physically punishing them. You should never physically harm your cat, whether by hitting, spanking, kicking, grabbing their scruff, or whacking them on the nose. Not only will none of these punishments correct your cat's behavior, but they will also significantly damage your relationship. Your cat will come to associate you with fear and pain if you punish them physically, and it will make them more likely to lash out in the future or even act aggressively towards you. Even though training your cat can be frustrating, especially if your cat ruins a nice piece of furniture or has an accident at the house, it is always unacceptable to use physical force to punish them. As mentioned previously, cats understand discipline differently than humans, so your cat will not understand that the punishment is a consequence of their bad behavior, and it won't serve as a deterrent. As such, not only is punishment damaging and harmful to your cat, but it is also ineffective as a training technique. Instead of physically punishing your cat for negative behavior, you should try to prevent the behavior from occurring in the first place. One of the best ways to do this is by redirecting your cat's attention. If your cat likes to scratch, for example, provide them with plenty of scratching posts to use instead of your couch. Be sure to place them in front of areas that your cat targets. To get them interested in the scratching post in the first place, you can use pheromones or treats to pique their interest. Once you've redirected your cat's attention, you should use positive reinforcement to cement their good behaviors into habits. For example, in the previous instance, you should reward your cat after they've used the scratching post. This will lead them to associate the scratching post with a positive reaction, and they will be more likely to use it instead of your couch in the future. You can reward your cat with treats, praise, or pets, all things that they enjoy. As such, you are using reward rather than punishment to correct your cat's behavior, a technique that has been proven time and time again to be more effective. Plus, unlike punishment, positive reinforcement strengthens your relationship with your cat rather than damaging it. Number 3, don't punish with sound. Punishing cats should be avoided in all forms, including those that are not physical. Psychological or mental punishments are just as harmful as physical punishments, even though they might seem more acceptable. Cats are very sensitive animals, and they have much sharper senses of hearing than humans do. Not only can cats hear higher and lower pitched sounds than humans, but they are also much more sensitive to volume. Not only can they hear a larger range of decibels than humans, but they can often feel sound vibrations due to their highly attuned paw pads. Since cats are natural predators, they need to have a sharp sense of hearing to pick up on the quiet movements of prey like mice. However, this means that they are especially sensitive to loud noises. You should never punish your cat with sound by shouting, clapping, stomping, or using shaking devices like a can with coins, for example. Even though you might feel like shouting if your cat does something bad, it is important to remember that your loud voice will only frighten them. Plus, it isn't like they can understand what you're trying to say anyway. Shouting at your cat or using other loud noises to punish them will only lead your cat to associate you with the fear and anxiety the loud sounds give them. As mentioned earlier, redirection is an excellent way to prevent bad behaviors. One way to use sound positively to train your cat is by using clickers. Clickers are used as a form of positive reinforcement, as you can teach your cat to associate the clicking sound with correct behavior. The sound from clickers is not loud or disruptive, so it is not frightening for your cat. You should use the clicker when your cat exhibits a positive reaction, like using the litter box. The sound itself is not inherently positive, so you will need to couple it with reward like treat or praise. After a couple of times, your cat will understand that clicking marks a good behavior. As a result, they will be more likely to exhibit that behavior in the future. However, although clickers are a good way to train your cat, you might want to approach other sound-based training methods with caution. Some training devices like remote-controlled noisemakers and sound mats might work for some, but they might cause fearful reactions in others. As such, it is best to try other methods of training first. Before using any of these devices, consult your veterinarian or cat behavior specialist first. Number 4. Don't rub your cat's nose in an accident. Accidents can be frustrating. They're messy, require a lot of cleanup, and just gross. But it is important not to punish your cat for an accident. After all, a cat's natural instinct is to bury their waste. That said, if they don't use the litter box, it usually means something is wrong. So if your cat isn't using the litter box, it's likely the result of an underlying issue or ineffective training. One of the worst responses you can have in an accident is to rub your cat's nose in it. This is not going to prevent your cat from having another accident. It will only upset them. It might even make them more likely to avoid the litter box in the future. Instead, try to encourage your cat to use the litter box. If they have suddenly stopped using the litter box, try to figure out why. Have you recently changed the type of litter or the style of the box? The litter box might be too small or too enclosed, or your cat might dislike the type of litter. Sudden accidents could also be an indication of an underlying health issue such as a UTI, so it's important to consult your veterinarian. In fact, many sudden bad behaviors like aggression or destructive habits might be a sign of illness or pain. Instead of reacting with anger, it is best to identify the source of bad behavior, whether it is environmental or health issue, and correct it. Number 5. Don't allow aggressive play. Even though you should never punish your cat for aggressive behavior, it is also important to correct it. You should not allow your cat to exhibit aggressive behaviors even during playtime. Whether your cat is getting too aggressive during play with you or other pets, it is always important to correct it immediately. If not, this behavior could escalate. If another pet is involved, it could quickly turn into a fight and result in serious injuries. If your cat gets aggressive during playtime, biting or scratching you, for example, while you shouldn't react negatively by hitting them or yelling, you should visibly react. Most of the time, your cat will not be intending to hurt you. Kittens especially may not understand the force of their bite, so they might not realize that they're hurting you at all. As such, it is important to make this clear to them through your reaction. Without shouting, you could say, "ouch," and stop playing immediately. Playtime should end there, and you can even leave the room to teach your cat that aggressive play results in playtime ending immediately. While training a cat can seem daunting at first, it is more than possible with the right techniques. Now we would love to hear from you. Have any of these tips helped with your cat? Comment below. And if you found this guide helpful, we invite you to check out one of these PAWSOME videos next. We'll see you there, cat lovers.